ladies and gentlemen, from the four corners of the world to the four corners of this ring, let's get ready to rumble!
Boxing store.
Best store in Europe. Boxing gloves, boxing shoes, shorts, anything boxing. Just started a Muay Thai line, mixed martial arts, MMA, anything combat-wise.
They've got it all, so shop online or in store.
Champs Boxing Store is your people.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching or listening to this, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Bell. I'm your host, Lee Parks, alongside my co-host, Matt Power. How you doing, Matt?
How you doing, Lee? You all right, mate?
You're not too bad, and we're proudly sponsored by Champs Boxing Store. They had a big day on Saturday, didn't they, because they moved their location?
Yes, mate, yeah. It looks phenomenal.
Coming up this week, we're going to have a quick chat about mental health in boxing because of the stuff that happened, like with Dillian White after the Fury fight, where he went missing for a while, and obviously the stuff that happened with AJ in the ring. I'm also going to catch up about the Liam Smith fight and the controversy that happened there on Saturday night. And then also there's some fights that should be announced next week. Tyson Fury and both Dillian and White have been all over social media saying this thing's coming up. So before we get into all that, so mental health in boxing, we hear so much about athletes and boxers training hard in the gym to get physically ready for a fight. But why is mental health so important during training camp, and what can people do to keep their mental health straight during a training camp?
It's a really tough time. It's a really tough time in camp. There's a lot of stress, there's a lot of pressure, and you need to try and keep it to a minimal, because you need to believe in your confidence. You need to, there's so much to do in camp. It's not only training. Do you know what I mean? Like you need to be selling tickets. You need to be at pro level doing your press conferences, your interviews, like our first episode of Archie. He needs to do that to keep his name up there and going. It's a very stressful time for him. The way I worked it, I don't know if people see my podcast on non-identity. I didn't really touch on this very much. Is that I got people to do different things for me. So, for instance, all I had to worry about was my training. I got someone else to do my tickets, things like that. To be honest, I didn't really have to do any press conferences or interviews, things like that. They were mainly on the night. But yeah, like that is the best way to do it. And it's a very tough situation to talk on, because probably the most hardest thing about preparing for a fight are your tickets. Making sure you're selling tickets, because 9 times out of 10 now, even on the white collar shows, if you don't sell your ticket, the certain amount of tickets, you don't get on the fight card. Like, that's stress. And then carrying on from the tickets, you get people going, yeah, I'll buy one. And then it comes to it, and oh no, I ain't got the money this one. Well, hold on a minute, this is my wages, this is why I fight. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is a massive part on my career as a support. There's that quote, and there's another quote, and I will list the things you don't do to a boxer in camp. Like when you ask a fighter, oh yeah, what time are you on? I'll get there for then. It's pressure. It's pressure that's not needed. Yeah, just go there at 6, 7 o'clock. Yeah, and enjoy your night. Yeah, because that's a pressure. That's a pressure less off of. I used to get it all the time. Oh yeah, I'll have a ticket. What time are you on? I don't know. That's the least of my worries. When I get told I'm going on, do you know what I mean? I don't care. I don't care what time I'm on. When I'm on. That's one of the biggest don't do's to a boxer in camp.
I totally agree. So obviously, when I did the ultra white collar event, it was 2 weeks to sell us an X amount of tickets, and then the pressure on that was like phenomenal. Because once that happened, I think there ended up being about 10 fighters not allowed to fight because they didn't sell the tickets in time, and they were made to do like the four-week camp, thinking they were going to fight, and then obviously got told, "Sorry, you haven't sold your tickets, you can't be on the card."
Yeah.
So I think that struggle, but then also. When doing that event, I don't know if it's the same when you get to like pro level and that, the mental battle you have with yourself was like unbelievable. I used to wake up some mornings thinking I can't do this, or I've got to drag myself to the gym, or like I got hit inspiring hard the night before. I just thought, yeah, nah, this ain't for me.
Yeah, like to be honest, the getting hit thing gets easier as the time goes on. It does. You are going to get hit. It's not a game of chess. You're going to get punched in the face. Do you know what I mean? Like it is, and the pressure and the added pressures. And when we get to the end of our mental health chat, I'll list the things that do's and don'ts on boxing, and I'll give certain situations. But yeah, like it's very tough. It's a very tough and lonely world you're in. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one's going to go in there and defend you, and that's why you got to take certain steps to that. And you do go through hell. You do go. Oh, I've had some right old stinkers in training. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it happens. Of course it does. But that's what makes us stronger. That's what makes us fighters. You know what I mean? Like that's the way it is, mate.
And how do you sort of get yourself out of bed in the morning? If you've had like a bad day before, obviously stuff going on in camp, there might be some outside interference. It's quite easy just to wake up and think, "Oh, I'm not bothered training today." So how do you get yourself prepared to still go back in the gym on that day when you're feeling down and stuff?
It's a very hard question to answer. Very hard. Like I can only talk from my experience. The way I used to look at it is, yeah, I had a really crap night of training last night. But do you know what? I'm going to go and correct it today. That was that was my attitude. Like people, but it ends up just being like an addictive sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it ends up you just go and do it. You know what I mean? Like I've officially hung them up. I'm not training, nor am I fighting anymore. But I still get that feeling when I wake up out of bed and go, oh, I need to go train. Lee, who knows me personally, knows I can't go and train due to health. So now this is where the mental health side comes in, because for the past 15, 16 years of my life, I was getting up in the morning. I was coming home from a day job and going to train in the night. Do you know what I mean? Like now what do I do? Do you know what I mean? Like, and people like you, Ricky Hattons, that's exactly what happened to Ricky.
So what do you do then? Because like you said, you've had all that years and now you can't. So what do you do to keep yourself sane?
To be honest, Lee, I'm going through that right now. And I'm trying to learn things on what I can and can't do. There is a lot going on personally in my life that health-wise that stops me from training, because my whole plan was, like my last fight was November. So I fought in November. I thought, right, that's it. I'll just keep going training. And now I can't. So I'm still trying to find that answer. It can be one of 100, could be one of a million things you can go and do. Like you can go and do fishing. You can go and do, it depends on your health. You can still train. You can go and do anything. go and play a game of chess. Whatever your thing is, and you find it. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of these pros, that's why they towards the end, well, when they finish their career, that's why they turn to drink and drugs, because they don't know why. Do you know what I mean? They don't know what else to do.
Could do a weekly podcast.
Do a weekly podcast. Behind the bell, we're always looking for guests.
No, yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying, because we've only going off the experience of the white collar from 4 years ago, so I can't. But it must be hard to put all your effort into training for fight night, and then on fight night, the adrenaline buzz, the rush, the performing in front of people, the exhilaration when you win, the toughness when you lose, and all of a sudden for that just to stop dead must be really hard to cope with.
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough. Like I said, I'm still going through it. I've only hung them up for 10 months now. You know what I mean? My last fight was November, if I can do the maths properly. But I can't really answer that, because I'm still finding that answer myself. Yeah, it's a very tough thing to do. Like in a way, it's harder than fighting for sure. Mentally, like it is tough. It is very tough.
What about when you lose? How do you get over a loss? Because obviously you put all your effort in to a fight, and then you lose the fight, so you start probably feeling that you ain't good enough. Your training weren't right. It's not for you. So how do you get yourself over a loss to then go for another camp to try again?
So again, it's a very hard thing to answer. Like I keep saying, I can only go on my experience. I've lost a few. You either sit there and wallow, yeah, and go, yeah, I am shit, whatever, yeah, or you go and you sit there and think for a few days and think, what did I do wrong? I need to go and correct that. And then the cycle goes on and on and on and on and on.
And then flip that. What about after a win? Because we hear Tyson Fury say many a times he's had his lowest days after he's won his biggest fights. Because once you reach the height of where you can go, the only way is down, really. So he said, like, after he won the World Heavyweight Championship, the next day was his lowest day mentally. So how do you get that balance right after a big win as well?
Well, to be honest, I never got to the top of my game, so I can't really answer that on what Tyson says, and I'm sure he's right. But what I can relate on is the night after the fight, walking out to do what you've worked 12, 8, whatever weeks for, and to walk out, no word of a lie, it's better than intercourse, mate. The adrenaline, your friends and family screaming your name, cheering you on. Do you know what I mean? Oh, mate, there's nothing better, and that's one of the biggest things I miss about that game.
We spoke in previous episodes, like you've been in Archie's corner and stuff. Did you still get that feeling when you walked out with him, or was it a different buzz?
No, mate, still the same. Still get the little butterflies in the old tummy, mate. Can't beat it. Yeah, and obviously Archie is my cousin, so I am very proud of Archie on what he's done and what he's doing, and that's what makes me want him more to succeed, is because I'm very proud of him and I know what he's capable of even today. So yeah, I still get that, but now I'll get that little bit of nerves. Do you know what I mean? Like I do get nervous. I do get nervous for Archie. I'll get nervous for all the boys I used to train. But it's how you control them nerves. And I used to be very nervous for my boys. I used to corner all the time. Still am when I watch them on TV and when I hear they're fighting, I still get a bit of nerves from I care about them. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course I do. I'd be wrong if I said that I didn't.
And as a coach, how do you prepare your boys mentally to get them through their mental health struggles? Because obviously you've explained how your experience and what you felt as a fighter. So if they were feeling the same thing, how do you get them through it?
Again, it's a very hard question because everyone's mentality is different. In the way I used to look at it, like, if you're going in there thinking you're not good enough, you shouldn't be in there. My job is to protect, is to protect whoever I'm training. So, like, if they're telling me that, I don't believe I'm going to do it, Matt, you ain't going in, mate. What's the point? What's the point in going in there and getting punched and you're believing that you can't win or to be honest, I always tell my boys, I don't care if you win or lose. Yeah, as long as you leave everything in that ring and you leave everything in training, then you're a winner.
Yeah.
Like, everyone fights for different reasons. 9 times out of 10, I probably didn't even know the reasons why they was fighting for. But my whole thing was to protect them while they're in that fight.
Right, so the do's and don'ts.
So we start with the don'ts. Again, I'll put on that one earlier. Don't ask what time they're on. God's sake. If you're one of them people, I'm ashamed. Don't put extra pressure on them. Don't ask them if they're going to knock them out. They don't fucking know if they're going to knock them out. You know what I mean? Like, that's extra pressure. Don't put them down. Don't put them down. Don't go, yeah, what are you fighting for? You're no good. Yeah, that's definitely what they need after 8 weeks of bloody training.
And it's true, we hear it all the time. Well, got to give massive respect to people getting the ring, but I don't think people truly believe that until you get in the ring. Because again, like I said previously, until I got in the ring, to me, boxing was a bit like WWE. An easy thing where they just turn up, walk down, jump in the ring, have a little fight. There's a winner and a loser. And then I actually stepped in the ring, and it is like, as you said, it's a crazy experience because it's one of the most exciting things ever, but it's one of the most scariest things at the same time.
As a person standing in front of you, he's going to try and punch you in the face. You're going to try and punch him in the face. Of course, it's scary. Of course, you'd be wrong. You'd be wrong in the head if you said that you weren't. We do it. We're that 1% in the world that have been there, done it, got the T-shirt, and probably got a few scars to prove it. Do buy a ticket. Yeah, these fighters are asking you for a reason to help them. Listen, you're winning either way. If you like the fella, yeah, if you like the man or woman who's fighting, yeah, you can cheer him on. You can be proud of them. If you don't like the fella, you see him get punched in the face. Winner. All right. Also, do get behind them. Even if you can't make it to the fight, give them a good luck message. I never used to reply to them personally, but I read them. Another dude, just be there for them. Anything they need, just be a friend, a family to them. Give them a little hug, because there's a lot going through their head. You know what I mean? And yeah, there might be a little bit of self-doubt there, but that little arm around the shoulders might lift them up. Do you know what I mean? And any boxer out there that is going through a hard time, talk, open your mouth. Yeah, there is no harm. There is no harm. Not even to a boxer, to anyone. I've been there, I've done it, I've had to talk. Do you know what I mean? Like, just talk. If you're going for a hard time, you're not sure on something, you're worried about something, just open your mouth to someone you love and trust.
And if you feel like you can't do it to someone you love and trust, please reach out to us on all our socials, Any message we receive or anything like that, if you need some help and support, we will reply and get back to you with a bit of advice. So please just hit us up on our socials. The link will be in the description if you need any help and support. We are here for you as well.
100%, mate. Anything boxing related, if you're not sure on saying, or if you want to get into boxing and you're not sure where to go and you're from our local area, give us a message. Give us a message. It'll either be me or Lee replying to you anyway. So, yeah, and if Lee's not sure, I'm up till silly o'clock, so I can reply. Do you know what I mean? But we got to keep fighting with boxers. We're that 1% in the world that don't do what others do.
So moving on then. So this Saturday night, we just had the Liam Smith fight, and as we mentioned in the intro, a bit of controversy. Now, hand up, I didn't have a chance to get to see this fight, so I'm going to hand over to Matt to explain.
So I only caught the Natasha Jonas and the Liam Smith fight Saturday night. Can I just say on Natasha Jonas, that girl has had a proper hard turn at professional boxing. She ain't had it easy, and she outshone Saturday night, and I'm really proud of her. Really happy that she got the WBC. Boxed really well against a tough opponent. Yeah, quality, good work, great work. Liam Smith, yeah, there was a lot of controversy there. I don't really understand what really happened. In my opinion, the guy from Tanzania bottled it basically. I think it went to 4 rounds, and he decided to take a knee twice. He did go over on his ankle earlier in the fight, but that didn't seem to be a problem in the replays.
Sorry to interrupt, Matt. What's the ruling on a boxer taking a knee in the ring? Is the to call it off the first time, or is it left discretion?
So it depends. It depends. So say if the fella's been really hurt, or the woman's been really hurt, and the referee feels like you can't continue, he will call it. But if it's not a slip or a fall, it's a standing 8 count.
Right. Okay.
So so the fella took the first knee, and it looked really strange. Like he sort of went, "Oh, I don't like this." To be honest, Liam Smith didn't really. He even said in the interview, like, you don't even really know what happened. Like, he didn't really get out of first gear. Didn't really put much. Didn't really stick it on him. And the fella didn't want it. The fella just didn't seem to want it. Done that the first time, got the standing 8, and then Liam Smith backed him up again in the same corner. He went down again, and the referee called it. So I really don't understand how, what, why, when. There seems to be a lot of problems there. I know Ben Shalom didn't appreciate it either. He even said, like, "What am I paying for here? Like, Liam Smith deserves better than that," and he does. He genuinely does.
So, do you think the guy was just there for payday?
I don't think that. I don't know. He might have thought, "Yeah, I can beat him," and then Smith might have caught him and gone. And he went, "No, I don't fancy that." You know, what I mean? You don't know what goes through. That's gone through the fella's head. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I really don't know. I was totally baffled with it. Yeah, it was a bit of an anticlimax for the main event, to be honest. But yeah, it's just onwards and upwards for Liam Smith. I'd just like to see what the future holds for him. Maybe he'll get their belt back again.
Yeah, no, fingers crossed for him. And in other news, so Saturday night, WWE had an event called Clash at the Castle. Tyson Fury have sort of been under contract with WWE for the last couple of years, so he got involved in the ending of the fight, and then he done an interview on BT Sport, and he said there is an opponent lined up for December. There will be an announcement next week, but it probably won't be Usyk, because he's saying Usyk's running scared of him, but Usyk apparently has said he's caught some injuries in a sparring match. Do you think that Usyk just needs a bit more time or he's scared of Fury?
Let me say one thing: Usyk ain't scared of anyone.
So you think he's genuinely injured? I believe he's genuinely injured. He seemed like an honest guy.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't understand why he's sparring if he's not in camp. I really don't know. Might be something going on now. Don't know. Yeah, maybe he does need a little bit of time. Maybe he got injured in a fight.
Yeah.
Maybe
Or
broke
could
his
have been
ankle.
injured in the build-up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who do you think's a likely opponent for Tyson Fury? Do you think they will just give him a journeyman so he gets a run out and keeps himself going for next year? Or because the only thing, if you give him a half-decent opponent, there's that slight opportunity that he gets beat and then the Usyk fights off. So what do you think they need to do strategy-wise in December to ensure that Usyk fight happens next year?
I have got a little bit of a thought.
Are you thinking Del Boy?
Maybe, but I'm thinking of someone else. Ask me about the other person who's announced a possible fight.
It's not. Is it Dubar?
Dillian White.
Mm.
Could it be the second fight?
Yeah, because saying that, as we said earlier as well, Dillian White. I saw an interview with Cougar on Saturday night, and he's saying there's something lined up which will be announced next week. So both fighters are announcing next week. So could it be the same fight? That's a good shout. Fury said he knows who it is, but he obviously couldn't say to the BT Sport interviewer because he said there'd be no point having a press conference. But he said, I know who it is.
It could be Del Boy. It could be Del Boy. That could be a nice little warm-up fight for him. For Usyk. I reckon Usyk will happen in maybe next year now. But might have been Joshua.
For Fury?
Maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
Like, let's face it, Eddie Hearn said he wants to get him out more. Yeah. He didn't get seriously hurt with Usyk.
Hopefully we'll have the news for you next week, because hopefully we'll hear something this week and then we can talk about all our speculations next week.
Yeah.
Just before we go, another interesting thing as well. You are off next weekend to the all-female boxing card. Are you looking forward to it?
I very much am. Yeah, I had a nice little touch this week. Yeah, no, really am looking forward to going to see Savannah Marshall. Going there live at the O2. We'll take a few videos to put on next week's. No, I think Savannah Marshall wins. Nothing to take away from Clarissa Shields. She's made a name for herself. Be a very good fight.
Well, Matt, I wish I was coming with you, but sadly I can't. So have a great night and have a good week, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, mate. All the best, guys. Thank you for listening.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, from the four corners of the world to the four corners of this ring, let's get ready to rumble!
Boxing store.
Best store in Europe. Boxing gloves, boxing shoes, shorts, anything boxing. Just started up a Muay Thai line, mixed martial arts, MMA, anything combat-wise.
They've got it all, so shop online or in store.
Champs Boxing Store is your people.